Okay, we are at the top of the hour. So thank you guys for joining me. My name is Spencer. I'm the Chief Product Officer here at Cronometer.com, and with me, as always, is Mary Ev. She is going to be answering some questions in the chat in case I can't get to some things, and she'll help me remember the things that I tend to forget. So yeah, so I have a short presentation for you guys, and we'll get through that, and I'll get into demonstrating how to use the app. So what are we going to cover in the webinar today? So we have this brief introduction, a little bit of housekeeping, and some more information for you guys. Then we're going to focus on a screen-by-screen demonstration of all the features in the app. We're going to focus on some specific areas that we certainly won't cover everything, but we're going to focus on the basics when it comes to setting up your account. It's after you signed up. So if there's a specific program you want to follow, and you know, there's some guidelines that you want to make sure that the app is equipped to handle. I'll show you how to do that. Then we're going to focus on logging food, specifically how you get the most or the best data out of the food that you're logging. And on top of that, then we're going to show you how to use a lot of the different commands in Cronometer to make logging food as easy as possible. And so hopefully we can get through all of that. Once we do, we're going to cover creating custom foods and recipes, which can be super helpful. And then, I just realized I have a demonstration. I have a barcode that I can scan, and then a food label that I can show you guys that we actually read food labels. The app does. But my wife cleaned my office the other day, and now the bag of macadamia nuts that I had is gone. So I'll have to find something else. Anyway, so and then finally, if we have time, then we'll get into the data analysis tools that we have. We usually don't get to that in general, but if you're interested in learning more about the app, maybe some more advanced features and everything like that, you can actually join us tomorrow. We do every Wednesday we cover all our gold features and some more advanced features that we offer in the app on the free account too. And Mary Ev, if you wouldn't mind posting that link in the chat, we can then if anybody's interested, you can join us. It's usually pretty informative. So, and as we go through these different areas of the app, feel free to ask questions. There's a little Q&A button on your webinar UI there. You can ask questions. I'll get to them as we go through the various areas in the app. Okay. So, housekeeping, we don't give any personalized nutrition advice on these webinars. If you have something that you want to figure out about your own situation, like what you should do, you can talk to a healthcare professional. And in fact, we actually have a bunch of professionals that work using Cronometer in their practice. We have a pro directory that lists these people. So I will show you that towards the end of the webinar if you're interested. If you want to figure out how to set up a specific program, that is something we can obviously help with. Feature requests. I won't really deal with any feature requests in this webinar. There's a survey that you'll be shown after the webinar, and you'll have some space there to let us know what we can do to improve your experience in the app. And there's if you see a question in the queue that you like, you can always hit the like button and it'll pop up to the top. If you have follow-up questions, you can email us at support. We're very responsive. And all the replays we generally post right around the end of the week. We post those to our YouTube channel. So if you miss anything, you want to watch something again, sometimes I talk fast. I've been accused. You can go back and watch it again up on our YouTube channel. So what I want to start our discussion off with today is, why should you use Cronometer to achieve your health goals? We have the highest quality, most accurate data of any of the trackers that are out there. We track over 80 micronutrients, and we believe that a good diet and good health is built on the foundation of that micronutrition information. And we've built the data analysis tools and the app in general to make sense of all that data. With 80 micronutrients to understand at any given time, we have done the work and built the app in such a way that you can look at the diary page, which we'll see in a second, and understand how well you're doing and how well you're tracking towards, hitting all of your nutrition targets for the day, for the week, month, etc. So, and because we're built around this micronutrition data, the building blocks for any, healthy diet, you're going to find that Cronometer is customizable to just about any eating style, from everything on the spectrum, from vegan to keto to paleo and everything in between. We can handle that. And finally, we're secure. So we believe that you, the users, own your own data. We never sell your data to any third party. We are end-to-end. We use end-to-end encryption. We follow GDPR guidelines, and we follow HIPAA guidelines as well. And so, we take that very seriously. So much so that you could tomorrow, in fact, go to your account, delete all your data from our system, walk away, and that's just kind of one of the things that we believe. So you own your own data, and that's very important to us. So who uses Cronometer? So not only do we have an app that any individual can pick up for free, but we also have a professional version, like I mentioned earlier. And here are some of the organizations that actually use Cronometer in a number of different capacities. Some hospitals, for example, they use it with their nutrition programs for their patients. Other institutions use it for clinical or academic research. And they do this because they trust the accuracy of our data and the breadth of data that we actually give them. So again, I'll show you some of the pros that we use, the pro directory specifically, if you're looking for personal advice, towards the end of the webinar. So that's the end of my slideshow here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start broadcasting my phone so you guys can see. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna look at the web app, and in a sec, I'm gonna share my screen here. So 1570, and then I'm gonna show you how to do things on the mobile app as well. Right. Okay. So we're gonna start on the diary page here. We're just gonna go through what the different parts of the app are on this page, the relevant information that you have to pay attention to. And then we'll go through, actually before I do that, as a matter of fact, I wanna show you the setup side, because that's obviously the first step that you guys are gonna need to take. So let's say you want to follow a specific program, and the default settings that we set for you when you create your account aren't quite what you want. So the first thing you're gonna wanna do is go to settings. And the first place you want to go to is profile under settings here. And so what you're looking at here is the body details section. And what this is going to contain some information that you filled out when you created your account. But there are a few settings here that I want to go over just in case you guys are curious about how to kind of make, choose the right one for yourself. So the sex, birthday, those things are when you create your account. The BMR, actually set it to the default setting here. The BMR is your basal metabolic rate. That's the calories you burn just by being alive. That's your heart pumping, thinking, all those kinds of things. That's just the calories it costs you every day to be alive. We use an equation here to calculate that based on your other body details, height, weight, age, etc. You can set a custom value here, but we generally don't recommend doing that unless you have some reason to, maybe your health professional has given you a reason to. And the next setting here is the one I actually want to spend some time on, and that's activity level. So our activity level is a way for us to capture your general activity during the day without, having to log every single little thing you do, like, getting up from your office and walking to the kitchen, or work at home, obviously, or, going to the bathroom, whatever the case may be. What are those little things that we're not tracking? Those are the things that we would capture with this setting. So in general, this is how we like to recommend people set this up or choose their setting. If you have a Fitbit that you wear all the time and you're tracking your steps, your active calories, your workouts and everything, just set the activity level to none, because the Fitbit or any other devices that we integrate with, that will capture the bulk of everything that you do. So none is great if you use a device. If you don't use a device, chances are sedentary is going to be the right setting for you. So take me, for example. I sit at a computer all day. I log my workouts separately. So if I go to the gym or if I go for a run, that stuff goes in Cronometer separately. So outside of my exercise, though, I'm not super active. Honestly, the sedentary setting here is going to capture my general activity level outside my workouts correctly. So if you log your workouts separately, if you want to log your workouts separately, and you have a fairly sedentary lifestyle outside of those things, then go for that. If you have an active lifestyle, like you work construction, you work, a job that keeps you moving all the time, then I would start to consider the higher settings, lightly to moderately to even heavily active. And honestly, it's a bit subjective about what those lines are. So it's up to you to choose. But again, that's generally how we think about and how we recommend setting this particular setting. Because what it does is it affects the total number of calories burned in a day, which will then affect your energy target and all these other things too. So again, that's where we come from when we think about this one. So your current weight, that's something you've told us when you created your account, likewise with your height. Now the body fat percentage, this is a measurement we use in some of our macro calculations, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. But if you know your body fat percentage, you can put that in here or in the diary and log it as a biometric. And we'll use that in some of those calculations. If you don't know that, we will calculate it based on other factors like your height, weight, age, things like that. So don't worry if you don't know it. And then your BMI, that's just a calculated number here. You can't actually edit that. So once you have your activity level and maybe your body fat percentage logged here, you can move on to your targets. So in the targets tab, you have your macronutrient targets, which is probably your best or the most important setting for whatever kind of program you're following here. The first thing you want to do is choose how you want to track carbohydrates. So we have a couple different options here. I'm going to zoom in so you guys can see a little bit better. When I expand that, unfortunately the drop down doesn't expand, but you can see we have total carbs. So that includes everything. That's sugars, starches, everything that you can, fibers, every carb that goes in your body, we will count towards your carb total with that setting selected. Now we also track net carbs as well. So that's carbs minus fiber. And you can choose whether or not to count sugar alcohols towards that total. And sugar alcohols are just these low calorie sweeteners that are often used with lower carb diets. They affect people pretty differently. So some people believe they should be counted towards carbs, some don't. So we let you choose that option. So we're just going to go to net carbs here. And then we have several different ways to track your macro totals. So what you would do in this case is the default setting is macro ratios, right? And I don't know what the default ratio is. I've modified this a bunch, but the ratios looks like this. It's a pretty common way. A lot of different dietitians and just in general, people think about how to track or how to calculate how much calories you're getting from each macronutrient. And so what we could do here is I could say, all right, well, let me do a ratio of 3, 3, 2. So 38% of my calories will come from protein, 38% from carbs, and then 25% from fat. And you can change the numbers here. You'll see what the percentages look like. And based on the program you're doing, they may have a recommended ratio for you to follow. On the other end, so what's nice about this, actually, this is a dynamic calculation. So if you have this setting on your account and you are, you update your weight, you have, maybe you lost some weight over a couple of weeks. When you enter that new weight, we will take that into account and adjust your calories and your macro targets based on your new weight. So this is always changing to match your progress. Now, on the other hand, if you want to work with macro targets that aren't changing based on how your body might change over the course of the program, you can go to fixed targets. And so what that allows you to do is it allows you to pick a fixed value for calories in the day, and then a fixed amount of each macronutrient in grams. So you can control how many of your, exactly what those targets are without any fluctuations over time. So this is generally better if you want to be super strict for a period of time or something like that. Now, the ketogenic calculator, if you're doing a ketogenic diet, this is another dynamic calculation that we do with the emphasis on calories coming from fat. So the way we do this and the way you would set it up is, so we have a couple of settings, preset settings here you can choose. I'm going to just show you custom because it's a little more easy to explain. So grams of protein per kilogram of lean body mass. So this is where that body fat percentage number actually comes into play in terms of calculating how much lean body mass you have. And again, if you don't know that number, we'll calculate it, we'll estimate it for you based on your other body details. But you set a number of grams of protein per kilogram of lean body mass. And that will we'll do some math here to say, okay, that'll get you about, in this case, 68 grams of protein every day. And then you can set a fixed amount of carbohydrates per day. And so depending on your own carb tolerance, that may be different for different people, but you can say whatever that number is, 20 grams in this case. And then we know the two numbers out of 3, then we'll calculate the calories that are coming from carbs and protein. The rest of your calories will come from fat. And so generally on a ketogenic diet, the protein and the carbs are minimized and the fat is maximized. Then we also have a setting down here called Include Athletic Bonus. If this is enabled, anytime you log exercise to our system, or you have data coming in from like a Fitbit or something, for every 50 calories you burn, you're going to get an extra gram of carbohydrates. You're going to be allowed an extra gram of carbohydrates per day on your limit. And so, yeah, you can modify these things with the custom setting, and you can pick rigorous, you can pick moderate, depending on how strict you are and what your needs are for your program. So that is the macro targets. Again, this is the real important setting that if you get right, you're probably in pretty good shape. Now down here, we have the weight goal. I'm going to skip back to nutrient targets in a second, but down at the bottom, we have the weight goal. So now that you have your macros set up, you actually want to help determine your caloric target for the day. So we have a couple different options. You can, lose or gain weight in increments of about half a pound. And half a pound is about 500 calories. So if you're losing half a pound a day, you're going to have to maintain a caloric deficit of about 500 calories. And so what this will do, and I'll show you this when we get to the diary page, this will actually tell you how many calories you have remaining each day. So we'll just leave it on 1 pound per week for now. And again, I should just mention, if you guys are choosing these particularly for weight loss, if you want to lose a pound and a half to 2 pounds a week, that's very aggressive. And so I might, consult a healthcare professional if that's something you actually want to go for, but that is pretty extreme. So we'll leave it on 1 pound per week. And I'm also going to enable this setting called Show Weight Goal in Diary. And all this does is it allows you to see basically how much math you want to do is totally up to you. So what this will do is say, you have 300 calories left to eat today to hit your caloric deficit of 500 calories, right? So it does all the math for you. If you just want to see a caloric deficit, you'll turn this one off. And I'll show you what the difference is once we get to the diary here. So then we have nutrient targets. So nutrient targets, you can click through each of these tabs here, and you can see all the different micronutrients that we track. And not all of them are actually enabled by default. You can see there are some of the, in this visible column, you can see some of them aren't on. But what you can do here also is you can set custom values for those micronutrients. And you can set the daily target, that is the minimum target you want to hit. And then you can set the maximum value as well. You can say, so you can say it's basically when you're in between that target range, that target and the maximum, you're in good shape. And we take all the DRI values from the Office of Dietary Supplements, and we apply those to your account when you create it. So that those are the starting points for all of your targets here. But these are completely customizable. So if you have special needs for a particular nutrient, maybe you're managing a medical condition or something like that, you can come in here and just click that custom checkbox, and then modify whatever you need to modify here. Cool. So that gets us through kind of that initial setup phase of your account. And now we're going to jump to the diary. And I'm just going to go through the component parts of the diary that are relevant to you guys. And then I'm going to go through how to log food to get the most data out of each item that you log. Excuse me. So you'll notice, so just a quick disclaimer, this is a gold account. This is our paid subscription. Some of the features that you're going to see here are part of that package. So for example, the diary groups you see here, those are part of our gold package. So I apologize if that raises any questions. Also, these purple gauges, the nutrient scores, nutrition scores, those are part of the gold feature, gold subscription as well. I won't cover those in any detail, so I'll skip over those. So up top here, you've got your food log. So you're logging your food, your biometrics, your exercise here. And then down below that, you have your calorie summary for the day. So this is telling me, all right, I've eaten 612 calories today. I've burned 2,135 calories. And you can see the breakdown. So if I mouse over the gauge itself, you can see that the BMR is 1779, which is about 83% of the calories I burned today. And then that activity level setting that I mentioned earlier is about 17%. Now, if I log some exercise, I'll just do this real quick for you. You'll notice the orange bit is the exercise in my calories burned. Okay, so now, then over here we have the macronutrient targets. So we have your energy total, protein, net carbs, or total carbs, depending on how you're tracking, and how much progress you've made on each of the targets. Now, if you mouse over basically any of these kind of horizontal gauges here, you're going to see all the foods that you've logged up in this food log here, what they're contributing to each of that macro. So for example, I'm getting 25% of my protein from the chicken breast that I logged in the food log. And this is a good way to help spot, trouble foods in your diet. So if you're like, whoa, my carbs are really high today, why is that? You can mouse over and you can see what foods are actually contributing to that. And then down below there, again, I'm going to skip over nutrition scores here. We get to highlighted nutrient targets, which is just, in the display section of our settings. You can choose, if there's like a nutrient that you really want to track, you can choose that nutrient to show up at the top here. Otherwise, you have all of our sections of nutrients that we track. You can see how you're doing in terms of where you're at with your targets. So a yellow gauge means you haven't hit the minimum yet. A green gauge means that you are within the target range that's set on your account. And the red range here means I've gone over the maximum that I'm allowed for the day. And again, you can mouse over any of these things to see what's actually contributing to that. And then, so that is all the information that you're going to get here. And you'll notice, we'll get to this a little bit later. When you mouse or when you click a specific item, the nutrition information for that specific item shows up down here. So you can see what each of these things is doing for your nutrition as well. Now, let's see. So let's talk about logging food. I see a question came in here from David. The glucose monitoring app wants total carbs for a meal. Is there any way to display a total per meal or snack? So yes, there is. On the free account, what you can do is you can multi-select different items, and this is part of some of the diary management stuff we're going to do in a minute, but you can multi-select different items. So let's say well, I obviously have groups here, so this is all my breakfast, these items here. I can hold down shift, click each item, and you'll see how my gauges were kind of filling up as I did each one. What you're going to see is once they're all highlighted, you're going to get your macro totals for the items that you've selected. So if you have your breakfast selected, you're going to know exactly what you got out of your breakfast. And so that's one way to do that. If you do have a gold account, you can actually just click the group to select everything, and then you'll get the same, basically the same information. So I hope that answers your question, David. If there's anything else, just let me know. Good and bad cholesterols. Oh, great question. So I'll show you what we have. So in the chat, Beth asked if we distinguish between good and bad cholesterols. Let's take a look. So that would be under lipids. Cholesterol, no, so it doesn't look like we break out cholesterol in any way right now. I don't know what data is available for something like that, but we can always look into how that might be achieved. Okay, so, oh, and actually before I jump into food logging, I do want to show you guys in the mobile app where to get to all the settings that I just showed you. So if we go down to the settings tab here, we're going to scroll down. So you see there's a profile section right here at the top. This is the body details, the activity level, all those things that I mentioned there. And next is the targets section where you have your macronutrient targets. We'll click on that. You can see you have your your carb tracking, the way you want to calculate, and then your individual calculator settings down below. So if I change that to say a ratio, you can see you can set that ratio here. Cool. So after that, you can see nutrient targets. Again, this is exactly what we were showing you before. You can jump in to see all the proteins. You can, oops, yeah, I can jump in to see all the proteins. There you go. And you can choose what's visible, what's custom, things like that. And then you have your weight goal. And again, you can set that current weight, your goal weight, excuse me, and you can choose which kind of increment you want to lose weight by. Cool. So back to the diary here. So now we're going to talk about logging food. Ooh, yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. Mary, I've just hit you with a whole lot of information, Beth, about cholesterol. Enjoy. So let's go to, I'll just highlight this group. So let's talk about logging food. How do you get the most data out of logging food in our app? Okay, so I just clicked on add food up there, and basically what we do, this is going to be kind of a combination of things. One, we try to make logging food as effortless as possible. So one of the ways we do that, you'll notice when you open up the add food dialog, you get a list of foods that are essentially, yes, you can. I'll tell you that in a second. Sorry, I got distracted by a question here. Basically, what you're going to be doing, so as you log foods over and over in the app every day, basically the app has a memory of that. And when you open up the food dialog, it's going to remember the foods you log most frequently, and it'll show you those here. So this is one way we can maybe shortcut you a little bit to the items that you are logging most frequently. But if not, you can actually, let me click on peanut butter. Oh, that's actually right there. Oh man, okay, there we go, butter salted. So if I click on that, and there's a little star next to the name here, if I click on that, it's going to become a favorited food. So I can actually build a list of favorites, foods that I eat all the time, so I can switch over to the favorites tab and get to the foods that I want really quickly. So if you have an approved foods list, let's say, for like a program you're following, you could favorite those foods, and now you have your own personalized list that you can just grab whenever you want. Now, the other thing that we do to denote how good the data is for any given item is we show you, basically, we have these quality icons here on the far right of the dialog. So I'm going to zoom in here, and you can see that this looks like a little red lab beaker. Basically, what we're saying by putting an icon like this next to a food item is that this food comes from essentially a really high-quality database where they essentially have a lab that is testing the food for individual nutrition information, which is super, super complete. So for example, if I go to olive oil here, you see down at the bottom, we've got the lab beaker, and we have data for 76 different individual micronutrients for this food, which is great data. You know, that's the kind of thing that you want to be logging to your diary, because you're going to get such a great picture of what's going on with your diet. Now, other foods, and the data source here, this little thing, this is the actual name of the database we're using to pull that data from. Now, the other thing is, you know, not every food in our database is going to have that amazing, you know, 76 or more individual micronutrients. The reason for that is because a lot of food manufacturers, so the guys that are producing the branded items in the store, they're not required to give us that much information. So oftentimes, so let's see. So we have Trader Joe's rolled oats. So here you can see a pretty common food item, but it's just branded, right? So Trader Joe's rolled oats. Down here, it has only 17 listed nutrients. Now, what's interesting about this is we know that this is a whole food item that we should have pretty good data for. So if it ever comes up where you're trying to log a branded item and we know that we have a better item for that you can use for that particular thing, we'll let you know with this alert down here, right? And all you have to do is click this link, and now you're logging just the oatmeal that we have, and you're getting a much more data-rich entry rather than the branded version that you might have logged earlier. And so you can see here, over here, this is another icon I can show you. This is like the barcode. These are store-bought items that are coming from the scanned database or our own curated database as well. And you know that generally those items are a little bit lower quality just because the food manufacturers are not able to, or they're not required to give us much information. But that is one way that we try to show you guys there's always better options in case you're logging your food. So, and David, I see your question in there. I'm going to get to that just after I get through this section. So the next thing that you're going to want to take a look at is the Common Foods tab. So the Common Foods tab includes only our kind of high quality database foods. So everything that we have here, and some, you know, some labs like say, like I think there's even some McDonald's items in here as well, because there are, you know, they have been around long enough where there's actually, like guys, I see some hands getting raised. Just if you have a question, feel free to type it in the Q&A and I'll do my best to answer it. So yeah, like I was saying, so the common foods is where all our lab tested items are going to be. So if you want only that type of data, go for searching in that tab. And if you have a branded item that clearly you don't need to put in the brand name, so like the rolled oats example, just put in rolled oats and you'll see what comes up here will be pretty comprehensive. And you know, because if we put the brand in, you saw I had it up in there a second ago, there actually weren't any results because we don't have any, we don't have much branded information in this tab, but this is where the best data is going to be. So then you have supplements, which naturally are items that are specifically flagged as supplements in our database, so we can kind of tell those apart. Likewise for branded items. And you can see that we do have some good lab tested items among our branded information. Restaurants as well. So Baskin, oh yeah, there's our McDonald's French fries. And we have quite a lot of data on those fries. So it might be scary if I entered these in, but you can see we do have some pretty good coverage on restaurants. We use a couple different databases that allow us to get coverage there. And finally, we have a custom foods tab. I'm going to talk about custom foods in a little bit, but any custom food that you've created on your account, that will show up in this tab. They also show up in a different color. So you can, you know, you can easily spot it in the search if you're just searching in the all tab. So with that in mind, I'm going to jump over to the mobile app. Before I do that, David, I just want to answer your question. So can I do the same carb total trick in the mobile app? Yes, you can. So the way you would do that, again, this is going to be part of what I show you later. You can tap this three-dot menu up here, and you're going to get this option called multi-select. tap multi-select. You can select a few of these items here, and then you tap that same three-dot menu up there, and then you have this option called Show Nutrition Summary. You can actually see the nutrition summary for the items that you have selected. So this is just like I showed you multi-selecting in the web. This is the equivalent. And so you can just hop over here, selected entries, and there is your snacks, your breakfast, whatever the case may be. Hope that helps. And there are some other tricks with that menu there. I'll get to that in just a second. Oops. There we go. So on the mobile app, we have a couple that's basically, it's very similar. So there's, but there's some added features on the mobile app that I want to show you guys as well. So you'll notice we have a scan barcode item here. So I'm going to show you guys how easy it is to actually log food using our barcode scanner. So if you're using a store-bought item that we don't have in our database. So here's an example. So this is a barcode that I don't think I've used before. It's on a box of pens. Yeah, so obviously you don't eat pens. So you have a food item that we don't have in our database. So what I'm going to do is create a new item. Check this out. This is so cool. I'm going to say, all right, I'm going to take a picture of the nutrition label here. Let's see if I can get a good clear shot of that. So that's not a bad shot. Use photo. Just take a picture of the front. Theo chocolate. Delicious, by the way. So now you'll notice on the area here on the screen, it says autofill successful. Basically, the app can actually read text off of the nutrition label that you've taken a picture of. So now you do not have to enter any information manually. Let's take a look at what that actually looks like. So I won't name it here, but you can scroll down. So look at this. So you can see the serving name, the serving weight, the here's all the information from the label. It's all there for you. So all you have to do is take a picture of a nutrition label, and boom, you have your item in the database, or in your own personal database, that you can then log right away. What's even cooler is that after I create this, at the end of this process, it's going to ask me if I want to send that information to Cronometer. And what we do with that information, we have a whole team dedicated to curating our database. And when you submit a food that isn't in our database, our team will go and basically verify all the data that you've sent in. And if it's accurate, if it's correct, we will then push that food item live so that everybody can use it. And this is one of the ways that we are very careful about growing our food database in a way that doesn't result in duplicate entries or different entries with different nutrition information, which would be a nightmare. But anyway, so this is a really convenient way to log food on the mobile app. So if you have an item with a barcode, use the barcode scanner on the mobile app. So I'm just going to X out of here and discard that. The other trick that I want to show you is, let's go down to evening snacks. So if I tap add food, and actually it's already selected, so let me turn that off. I just want to show you. So basically what happens here is I have my list of frequently logged items for this account. I can tap on one of those items. I can choose the serving size. You can even see all the information, the nutrition information for that particular item when you tap it. And we also use the last saved serving size. So for some reason I use 0 ounces of chicken breast, which makes no sense, but hey. So what you can do here is if you tap this icon up here, so now, right now I'd be logging everything one at a time, search it out, and just log it. But what's really cool here is if you tap this icon, you can take a look at, we have a number of different options. So you can, this is how you get to your favorites, the common tab, all the tabs that I showed you in the search on the web are all available on this side menu. You can also change how that's sorted. On the web, it's only your most frequently used, but you can change that to most recent or alphabetical, however you like to organize your list. But at the very top here, there's this enable multi-add feature. So if I turn that on, you'll notice those orange boxes again with all these foods in my list. Well, now what I can do is I can just check all those things, add them to the diary, and here they are. They all appeared in the area where I had logged them. And so instead of having to do everything one at a time, you can just get that list. Maybe it's a favorites list, maybe it's, you know, that frequent food list, and just boom, 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 get them all done and logged. So I'm going to switch back to the web app for a second, because now I want to talk about diary management. So now that you have some things that are logged here, you can actually, you know, maybe you're following a program, maybe you're eating the same type of thing every day and it doesn't vary all that much. I know I wouldn't want to log a whole day's worth of food. That's the exact same day or exact same as the previous day. So we have a couple tools that are available to you guys to basically make that a lot easier. So for example, so I'm going to one day in the future, haven't logged anything. So if I go up to the 3-dot menu up here, I can say copy previous day. So what that does, I mean, it does exactly what it sounds like it does, which is it takes everything from that previous day, puts it in the exact same order, amount, everything in the current day. Okay. And now I can, let's say I'm just eating the same thing from yesterday. Maybe the amounts vary a little bit. Now I can click on the amounts here and edit those as I need to. The other thing we do, you can also edit the unit as well. So for example, I have 2 medium eggs. What'll happen here is I will, let's say ounces. I'll change that to ounces. Now you'll notice, now I'm in ounces, now you'll notice that has changed to 3.1 from 2. What we do is when you change the unit of a entry, we take the current amount in the current unit and convert it over to the new unit. So that's, in case you do this and you're like, why did my numbers change? That's what we do. And you can always modify that later by clicking on the number itself. So anyway, so that's a little bit about how you can edit some things in the diary. If you want to, let's say you ate a certain way and you want to copy that over to another day that's not the next day, what you can do is go up to this 3-dot menu again. You can copy current day. So I copy this day. Nothing's happened yet. But if I go to a day in the future and I click on that menu again, I'm going to have a paste option here. And what that paste option does is it puts everything in, again, just the exact order that day was in. And now it's all here again. A couple other options for, you know, if you don't want to copy the whole day, maybe you just want to copy certain entries. Let's go here. So you can right click on any item and you can copy the selected item. You can, yeah, so I can just do one and then I can paste it by right clicking and there it shows up. If you multi-select items and then right click on the selections, you can copy those selected items and paste them by right clicking and you get all those items here. And that's pretty straightforward. You could do that on any day. So even though I'm pasting a bunch of items on a single day, I could jump forward, copy my breakfast from yesterday into my current day or a future day so that I'm planning and stuff like that. Yeah, Vera, so one of the things you can do, we also have the ability to add biometrics. So I'm going to click on that. So what you can do, so we have, so basically a biometric is any kind of like, it's not a food item. It's just a piece of data that you want to be tracking. So by default here, we have weight selected. So obviously, you know, that's a pretty standard biometric, but we also have a whole list here of biometrics that you can log manually to kind of say, oh, hey, you know, maybe you're tracking your weight, maybe you're tracking your blood glucose or your blood ketones or whatever the case may be. You can just put all those things in. If you know the numbers, you can add that information here. Now, we have a gold feature where you can create custom biometrics in case there are things that are not on this list that you want to track. But again, those are not something, you know, that's a gold feature. If you want to learn more about those, you come on over to the webinar tomorrow and you can learn more. So hope that answers your question. Oh yeah, we can, and I'll show you how to do that on the mobile app now as well. So on the mobile app, you have the same options available. You can copy days, you can copy, you can log biometrics. So just to show you the log biometrics, Vera here, we'll go in breakfast here. Oops. So you tap that plus button, you're gonna get the add biometric option right here. And then you have a list of all your biometrics on your account here. And some of those are my custom biometrics. Some of them are the ones that we track out of the box. So blood glucose, I can come in here, I can choose my units, I can set a value, and if I have gold, I can set up a couple other things. And then you just add it to your diary, and there it is. What's really cool, if we get to our data analysis part of the webinar, it's usually saved to the end, you can actually track that stuff over time, which is really cool. So I want to get to showing you how to do some copying and pasting and stuff on the diary in the mobile app. So we'll do that now. Then we'll get to creating custom foods and recipes. I'm even going to show you one of the advanced things that I like to show everybody around how to create meal plans for the day. It makes logging your food every day super easy, and I love doing that. It's my favorite preparation tool. But anyway, so we're just going to show you guys how to do some things on the mobile app here. So for an individual item, you want to delete it, you just swipe to your right, or sorry, your left, your other right. That'll delete it. You can also swipe to the left, nope, swipe to the right, and you'll reveal a little 3-dot menu on each of these items here. And it'll give you the option to copy that individual item, or show the nutrition information for it, or just delete it. And so what I would do here, for example, I could do, let's copy this. So I've copied that ghee right there. Then if I want to paste it anywhere, I would just go back to this on another item or the same one, hit paste, and there's that new item. Delete. Now, if I wanted to copy a bunch of items, I can select using that multi-select option I showed you guys earlier. Tap that button again. I'm going to copy it. Jump forward. That's all the same. And let's do paste. And that paste is also available in that 3-dot menu up here. And so here you see I have my 3 items in logged to my diary. Now, likewise, oops. If I go to an empty day, yeah. So here's an empty day. We have copy current day and copy previous day. So these do the same things on the mobile app that they do on the web. So it'll take the previous day and just paste everything there in there. Likewise with copy day, you can go to any day out of sequence and just paste your information to that day. I think, let's see, is there anything else here I want to show you guys? Oh, and another handy thing. So let's say you are, you're doing a whole bunch of different things. You're following a template. You're pasting everything in the diary, and you just want to you just want to set all these amounts here over. You can use clear all amounts, set everything to 0, and then start adding things in as you need to. And editing these numbers here. Okay, so that is diary management. So we've talked about how to get the most out of your logging food. We've talked about adding biometrics. Let me see, we're good with questions. Can we just time? When copying days food, yeah, so the timestamp, so you might notice here that we have some timestamps on each of these things that are entered in the diary. This is actually a gold feature. So you won't be able to do this on the free account, but you can edit that in the future. If you paste it to another day, it'll just take what's there. It won't adjust the time to the new time logged. So we've got a couple questions coming in, so I'll answer these before I get back on. So I missed how you get the diary to show breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So that is, yeah, so on your free account, you don't get any of these categories here. This is part of our gold subscription. This is our paid subscription. And so, when you join gold, one of the many great features that you get is the ability to add up to 8 customizable groups that you see in the diary. Otherwise, you're just going to have the kind of the open diary without any groups. Hope that answers your question. David, oh yeah, you had to leave for a minute? Okay, that's no problem. So total carbs and for meals. So what you can do, you tap this 3-dot menu. I'm going to go through this quickly. You tap multi-select here. Then you can click and select any number of items that you want to see. So all the items for your breakfast. You tap that 3-dot menu again up here, and you get a show nutrition summary. And that'll allow you to see the totals for that specific meal or that specific group of food. Sorry, I hope that wasn't too fast. Okay, done. And then what is the purpose of the mark day complete option? Great question. So let's say, so in general, what it does is, let's see. So mark day complete. So basically what it does is it is a way to say, yes, I am done eating today. I have followed a program, or, you know, this is a great day of nutrition information. It's a little subjective. You can use it how you want, but what we do with it is, so first of all, if I mark it complete, I can't actually add anything else, right? But what we actually do with it in our data analysis tools, which hopefully, it doesn't look like we'll have time for today, but we have these charts that you can look at and look at all your data for over, you know, a large period of time. You can actually filter on completed days. So on the days you're following the program, you can check them out, see how well you're doing, and get a sense of what those days look like. And that might be really important if you're, you know, if you're following a program strictly, and then you can't follow it on certain days, you know, maybe for whatever reason. So that is generally what the Mark Day is Complete feature does. Yep. Let me just delete all these. So now we're going to get into that. Now we're going to get into the custom recipes. So this is a really cool trick that I want to show you guys. It's a great planning tool if you're doing a program and you want to try to plan out your day and basically log everything you want to do in just about one click. So I'm going to show you guys. We have the ability to create, so custom foods I already kind of went over. If you have a barcode, scan it with the mobile app, you're going to get all the information in real quick. If for some reason, custom foods, you don't have a label or you want to create a food from scratch or something, you can come in here, you can edit, you can select a category, you know, maybe it's a poultry product, maybe it's a, you know, dairy, whatever the case may be. You can set some tags. Is it vegan, vegetarian friendly? Notes. But then you're going to have to enter all the individual nutrition information by hand. So that's not super pleasant, but most cases where this comes into play is when the item has a barcode anyway. So I'm not going to spend a ton of time on that. But custom recipes is where it gets really interesting in terms of planning stuff out. So let's see, let's take a look at avocado fritters. So I am going to create a recipe. So you can just click add recipe to create a new one. And you can set some tags here. You can set that category just like any other item. In the notes section, you might put in your preparation instructions. Barcodes, probably not relevant for a recipe, but that's okay. It's there if it is. So now serving sizes. So you can actually, so we're about to add a whole bunch of ingredients to this recipe, all the things that are, you know, required to make it. But, you know, anybody who's cooked anything knows you might make a whole bunch of different serving sizes for a particular recipe. So you can actually create a number of different serving sizes based on how you divide up the recipe. So if it's a pie, you could create a slice of pie, and then there's 8 servings within a pie, right? And so you can divide it up however you want. But why that's interesting is once we get down to the nutrition information, you can look at the individual nutrition for each serving size of that recipe. So if it's, you know, the full recipe, every single ingredient, all the things, you can check that out. Maybe it's 1 serving, which might be some subdivision of that total amount. So convenient way to divide things up and understand the nutrition you're getting from each thing. And then when you actually add ingredients, you just click this green plus button here, and it's going to be just like logging food to your diary. You know, so you're searching, same deal, look for the good items, you know, try to find what you're looking for, and you have favorites, all those things apply. But once you have your items logged, you can save that. I've already saved this one, so it'll save to your list here. But what's cool is, I'm gonna click on dinner 1 here. Now you can add custom recipes within other custom recipes. So now I have a little dinner plan here. I have some sauteed chicken with spinach, my avocado fritters, and some couscous. I can take that a step further. Instead of just on the individual meal level, I can create a whole daily meal plan. You see this meal plan day 1. I have my dinner, my lunch, and my breakfast. Other kind of packaged deals that I've made earlier. So now once I've created a daily meal plan, all I have to do is go to this empty day, actually just incomplete that. I'm gonna add a food and I'm gonna say, all right, all meal, let's go meal plan day 1, add that. And in just a single click, I have all my nutrition information for the day. I know what I should be eating and what my nutrition should look like. But it may not be super clear what I'm actually eating. So all you have to do is right click on the item, and there's an option here called Explode Recipe. So if I click Explode Recipe, it breaks out a recipe into its ingredients, which in this case are my individual meals. So then I can, in this case, I'll drag and drop, but if you're on the free account, you don't have groups. So I'll just organize them. And then I can click on Explode Recipe for each of the individual things. And there I go. I have all the things. So now this is, I mean, it took less than a minute for me to see everything that I'm eating for the day. You know, and so if you do some of that upfront work to understand, you know, plan out your diet, figure some things out, you can have a whole weekly meal plan ready to go at any point. And so it becomes very, very easy to log your food that way. And you don't have to think about it. You know, you don't have to log it like 3 or 4 times a day. Search items, all that. So wow, we're pretty low on time here. So I don't see any of the questions. So do you guys so I'll pause here. Went through a lot of information. There will be a replay. Is there any other questions you guys have, you know, with our last couple minutes here? If not, I can, okay, Victor has a question maybe, because he raised his hand. If you can type it out, Victor, I will be happy to answer. Yes, I did. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so there are going to be replays available. It will be on our YouTube channel. Just search Cronometer on YouTube, and we're the first thing that comes up. How to delete an entry. So on the web app, you just right-click an entry and delete. Okay. You can also, in this 3-dot menu up here, you can select clear all. That'll delete the whole day. On the mobile app, I'm just going to get out of multi-select mode here. You can swipe to your left and delete an item that way. Or you can swipe to your right, open up the menu by tapping that blue area, and select delete. Cool. Yeah, man, all right, I'm going to show you, man, I'm going to blow through this, but I'm going to show you our trends tab real quick. So you have the ability here to track just about any biometric. You can see over time what your caloric breakdown looks like. You can see, oh yeah, fair enough. That's a great question. I'm going to probably not go through trends because that's just not going to be enough time. I only have 2 minutes. So how do I import exercise data from Google Fit? So you go to settings, devices. This is on the web, so I'll show you on mobile in a second. We have a whole bunch of devices and apps that we actually integrate with. You can see that list here. So if you have any of those, you can connect. But for Google Fit on the mobile app, so this is an iPhone that we're looking at right now. But what you would do, you go to settings, scroll down to, where is it? Connect devices. Actually, so in general here, you're going to see where it says connect to Apple Health. You'll probably see connect to Google Fit. And that way, you can connect to Google Fit, get all your data every day through that app. All right, guys, we're just about out of time. I'll stick around if there's any other questions or anything. But I appreciate you guys coming out today. I hope you learned a lot. I know there was a lot to absorb here. Man, we didn't even get through half of what we do either. So if you want to come to our gold webinar tomorrow, you'll learn a lot more. I will also, oh, by the way, I did mention that there's going to be, that there was a professional directory. Go to help, search, find a professional, and then you can search pros in your area or people who do telemedicine and all that. You can search and you can find out like a specialty that you need or whatever the case may be. So yeah, so that's how you could find a pro that works with Cronometer. Cool. All right, guys. Is there a difference between estimated calories from exercise in Cronometer or estimated calories from Google Fit? So the exercise database that we use actually, it maps to specific exercises. So for example, I'll show you what that looks like. Diary. So if we go to add exercise, so here's an example. This is resistance training. It burns 232 calories per whatever. And that's how it is. That's just how we that's how we go by when we determine how many calories. It's based on what our database is telling us. Now, I don't know exactly how Google Fit's calculating it. I mean, I know it does, like, maybe it's counting steps. I don't know if it counts workouts. I'm not totally sure. So if you have a device like that that's going to import your calories, I would go with that because it's probably going to be more accurate than having to pick out specific exercise in our database. So I would go with that. Connect your Google Fit. Don't worry about logging exercise. So, hope that answers your question, Amanda. Okay. All right. I'm going to call it a day here, guys. Thank you so much. Join us tomorrow if you want, and I will see you guys next week, possibly. All right. Take care.